up, my friend?
What is up? How you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah.
You having a good week?
Been a good week.
Yeah?
I'm excited.
Yeah, you ready to talk about some tough shit?
I wouldn't say tough. It's just those moments of life, man.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say tough. I have a bad habit of calling things hard or like I dislike that. I'm still trying to come around to the idea of I just like that less than something else.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
it's different ways of just how do you want to word what your week went or what day, what happened in the day. Like, oh man, just a little, a little molehill.
There you go. Maybe people can work on their vocabulary so when they do use those words, they got more of an arsenal.
I think that is a better way of looking at a bad day than like not saying, oh, this was, the worst, shittiest day ever. It was, it's just one of those days.
Yeah. It was a day and it was mine, so it was good.
Yeah. The day just didn't align the way we wanted kind of thing, and just like simple things like that. But yeah.
Right. Well, okay, so folks that haven't been here in a while, we are, what more could you want? We're just a little humble podcast that likes to talk about things that aren't so humble, maybe, things that aren't so easy. And we're not experts, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not sure that I'm an expert at anything in life.
I'd say you got some expertise behind you.
Well, we'll see one day. When they write a book about people, maybe they'll write about you or I or somebody, but either way, it's really just a homogenation, if you will, of Jeff's life, my life, and then an outlook that may be a little fresh for you guys.
Yeah.
Because it's a little fresh for me being an old, like crusty disabled vet, and Jeff being an old crusty fighter, and like, right, like that's
Call
sort of
yourself old.
yeah.
I'm not old.
So anyway, if you've been here for a while, thank you. If you haven't, thank you as well. Jeff, what do we have on the docket for today?
No, it's been an interesting week. I'll take the reins and run it off here. Yeah. So, this week made one of those decisions in life that never is easy, and stepped away from something that I was a part of for a while. It was just one of those things. It's time to start a new chapter. Sure. I think a big thing for a lot of people is making those difficult decisions in life. You don't know what's going to happen. More fear sits in place, so you don't. Yeah. But I will say, the simplest things in life, if you're not happy doing something or particular situation, relationship, and there's just seems like it's not getting any better, it's time to divert off that path and create a new one. Even if you got to go through the thicket and chop, you'll find that it will be a much more pleasing process. And that was one of those things that it took time to come to terms with, but it's one of those decisions that happy the outcome came the way it did. That, new chapter, excited for whatever life may hold. But yeah, I think that's a big thing. A lot of people think that you always have to grasp and hold on to all these little elements of life, but it's like, if this doesn't bring you happiness, cut it. Remove that aspect. Cool. You will find if you remove things that you just don't make you happy, if it's within your control, that you find out that, wow, like you're a little bit more calmer, a little bit more peaceful, that happiness level comes in. But again, at the end of the day, you're in control of your happiness, but those outside factors can greatly diminish that internal feeling. So I think if you kind of step back from your life, look at the bigger picture as a whole, which I encourage everyone to do from time to time, look at things that you can cut out that do not make you happy.
Yeah.
That if you're able to step away from those things, people, relationships, whatever, do so. It's not the fact that you need everything in life, but you can still step away, and maybe you stepping away was the right move that reconnects you with whatever else that was making you unhappy.
So what you're saying is if you have something that's making you unhappy, and let's say you have a lot of things under it that do make you happy, but you can't get there because you're so busy doing this other thing, it's okay to peel that back, whether it's a financial burden or obligation or whatever, because at the end of the day, money, family, friends, nothing else matters until you're ready, you're healed, you're good, you're sound. Then you can start enjoying those other things. But when we all think that we have to be doing that 9 to 5 for somebody else's dream while they go on vacation with their family, I'm sorry, but that shit ain't going to cut it no more.
Yeah. And it's kind of, exactly like peeling back the layers. into your happiness. And the thing I've told many people in my years of training too is like, if you want to grade your life on a grading scale from A to F, let's grade our life. You know, you want to always try and be like, obviously the low A's. To say that you're at a A+ every day of your life, well, hell, you got a good life, but that's just not reality. There's too many outside factors, again, that come into play.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting at an A-, a B+, you got a good life. You're happy. And that's where you need to be, you know. And if, you know, as you open and you step back and open new doors in your life and you find things or things that you're a part of that don't keep you in that quote unquote grading scale, you got to remove yourself, because as soon as you start dropping down to a B-, a C, a D, or inevitably an F as grades go,
sure,
you are not going to be the best version. Anyone who is around you is going to get shafted. They're going to get the short end of the stick. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be rude, asshole, whatever it may be. You give the ugly version to the people who matter the most to you, when it really should be those people should be getting the best version of you. Well, technically everyone should. But if those things in life constantly pull you down on that grading scale, you need to step back and go, whoa, what is making me not this person today? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I remove that? Okay. Obviously, before you just jump to it, think, analyze, you know, break it down.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I really need this? Okay. Maybe not. Okay. And that kind of bumps you.
Can I interject real quick?
Go.
And then you can get back to that, but I don't want to forget this, is that part about, I'm sorry, what was it you just said? Because I completely...
Like grading.
Thank you. You know what? I'll come back to that. I cut you off,
Oh,
and then I forgot what I was going to say. See, that's how the universe works. Just shut up and listen, and you'll learn. See, I'm still trying to teach myself that. So please, I'm so sorry. I'll come back to that later.
Yeah. So as I was saying, like, you know, think of your life in a grading scale, and if you're doing things that constantly do this, anyone you come in contact with in your day-to-day life is getting this C, D, F version of you when they need the A.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's the biggest thing I always tell people, like, you know, you want to go out and help other people. It's great. I'm all for that type of thing in the world. Help others. Hell yeah. But until you are where you relatively want to be, you're truly not going to be able to take on the task of taking others and helping other people or doing all these things that life has to offer, because you're not mentally sound in this grading scale.
Right.
So, you know, this past week, you know, and it's step back. It's been longer than, you know, just past week, but taking a step back and analyzing. And we were talking about this prior, you know, from a book I read too. And, you know, Jocko Willink said it in his book, taking a step back, seeing the bigger picture. It was something I was taught in martial arts. When you fight, you always step back. I think we talked a little bit this about with Jim. You step back, and, you know, if we're going to square off, I don't just stare at your face or your fist. I'm going to eat them.
Right.
If I stare at your feet, I'm going to eat the feet.
Yeah.
I have to look past you to see, like, oh, the light, the frames, the skateboard, like, you know, all these things that are past you, whatever that may be. You need to take that bigger step back and go, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Sit there, see all this, and then what is a necessity to life? What can we remove? What can we improve upon that can make things better to start bumping you back up on that grading scale of life, so that you are the quote-unquote best version of who you need to be? And then obviously, inevitably, you will have those days where it's going to be one of these. That's life.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we want to try and flow to be on this level. And I think that's a big thing I don't think a lot of people do, is take that true big step back and look at their life as a whole.
Right.
To see what truly makes me happy. What makes me tick? What do I find enjoyment in? What do I don't like? Now, there's those things we have to do in life that you can't get rid of. I get them like, oh, I hate paying bills. Yeah, you're not going to get rid of that stuff, you know. But you take these big step backs and you look at things in very, very micro terms, and then kind of start pulling those pieces out. Oh, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And then start to pull that vision back aligned, and you'll kind of find yourself, I believe, a much happier person. And I feel, you know, as I've thought about these things, you know, for a while, I finally realigned to feel more of who I am than what I was.
Yeah.
Yep. And we all have those moments in life. And it brings me to, I don't know who said it, where I read it. It just pops in my head. I remember reading it on Instagram, though, is that in your life, you should never be playing a different act. You should not be the actor in your own life. You should not be acting a part day in and day out if that is not truly who you are.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before.
I think we have.
It's obviously a very important part of the day, part of the subject. And I just want to remind people that the things that we're discussing right now, remember, and I know for a lot of us it's hard. We've been sitting here talking for about 13 minutes. Remember, Jeff said he made a decision to leave a massive part of his life behind. And we are still talking about the after effects of that and the ripples that it causes and the rebounds, if you will, that we have to deal with because of that.
Perfect way.
Right? The ball does not come off the backboard to you the right way every time.
No.
Right? Like, I mean, professionals mess up. That's why teams lose. You've just got to, we've got to start sort of rolling through our days, I think, instead of throttling down.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like flow through the day. And when you get that flow and you're like, yeah, I'm here to where I need to be. I got to get some stuff. You know what I mean, dude?
Perfect.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. Going back to stepping back. Like, think let's look at life as a car. If you throttled that you're hammering down every day so hard, think if you were actually in a car and you were doing 100 everywhere you went, what would you miss out the window?
Oh, if you're looking out the window, you got problems.
Well, yeah.
Right?
But everything would be, you literally would be so focused on the lanes, the lines of the road. That's all you would see. That would be your focus. And if that is how you live life, is just that just this hammer down, I'm just going to do this, that's all you see.
Right.
You are literally tunnel vision. You forget to see what's around you.
Right.
You know, and then let's get out of the analogy of the car. That's the whole aspect of taking that step back in life and looking at the things that you do enjoy. Like, oh, do I need that? Like we've talked about before. Like when you're like, oh, do I need this big giant SUV?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
You know, like that's another thing. It's looking at all those aspects of life. Do I need this? Does this make me happy? Do I really? No, I don't need that. No.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Really taking that step back. And I think that's a big thing that I think is missing in most people's lives, is that you just go with the flow and you put the foot on the gas pedal and you just hammer it down and you don't take that time to breathe and step back and go, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like people will have this concept that brilliant people make decisions on a whim. Like these amazing people, even if you say somebody in the public eye like Elon Musk, who is an amazing public figure, he's still not the brightest guy we got out there. A lot more people, a lot smarter than him, doing a lot of other work behind the scenes. I'm sure of it, right? Mm-hmm. We don't, I don't think that it's good for us to continue to look at all of those smart public figures and rely on them for any of that thing that we need for when we move on in life, from a job or from an event, a hobby, from a family, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Why are they experts? They're not. Don't listen to them about what we're talking about. You got to listen to yourself.
Yes.
Right? I'm sorry I went a long way there to come back to that. But if like Jeff said, if you can't listen to yourself in a calm manner and one thought at a time, how are you living outside of your home?
Exactly, man. That's a big thing, is you can always seek outside help, advice. There's nothing wrong with getting that second, third opinion, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to make the decision to continue on doing what you're doing. And that it's a phenomenal point. You really have to be the one in your own head to, okay, we're going to do this, or we're not going to do this.
I'm telling you, brother, and you know it as well as I do. I'm just preaching to the choir here. I'm hoping somebody out here listens. Until I figured out how to come back to center.
Yeah.
When I figured out, like, oh my God, like there's this chaos. Today sucks. This sucked. That person did this. I did that. I messed all this up. You messed this all up. Oh, It's so much easier just to go, okay, yeah. Wow, that was not fun.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I'm not going to do it again.
And it brings me to what Sam Harris said in his meditation app the other day. I don't remember what day it was. Talking about your thoughts, your mind is I can't remember exactly how I said it, but your thoughts, your mind is inevitably what the world will get from you, which is true.
It's your projection
Exactly.
out of the world.
And that's the reality that you see, but that's the reality others get.
It is. That's called projection.
Exactly. And so that, man, like the other day, like, because you told me to start and I've been doing him and Wim.
Yeah,
still. Yeah. And I think was it Monday or was it Tuesday? I cannot remember. I think it was Tuesday, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And I decided to, and said, I'm going to sit outside. So I sat out in the back step and, sun beaming down, closed my eyes, did it. Man, he said that if I could have had a mirror in front of me when I opened my eyes, I probably had one of the biggest smiles of my life, just smirking like, oh man, like
he's talking to you,
like just felt that like wave come over me. But it's like, man, hell yeah, Sam.
Yes.
Needed that today. Yes. Like that.
Yes.
And I think I talked about that in my stories that day, but it's just like one of those things of, it's true.
Yeah.
And telling the people the other day, like asking like, how do you create this impenetrable mindset? Like mine's still not a steel fortress. It's still working it, but like we talked about in episode 9, things to kind of do for self-care, but it's those things like it's just like your body. If you don't have those inner conversations with yourself daily, take the reins of your life.
Yeah.
As you were saying, like you're always looking for outside opinions or experts to tell you.
Yeah.
You're not going to go anywhere because there's a billion different opinions out there.
Right.
Even if you get 1 million that agree this way, great. Is that what you really agree with? Or are you just following the crowd? Are you now one of the sheep?
Well, I don't think people realize that they're the sheep when they're the sheep.
No, they don't.
And then they get offended if somebody says, hey, man, like you're just sort of going along here. Maybe you should have your own thoughts. They don't like that. And I know why, because we've lived like this for way too long now, right? So I don't know. I think that, as a people, I think that we should probably take a step back and go, okay, I don't really like how things have been going, right? And if anybody can say, well, I've loved life so far, they've probably had a lot of money handed to them and not a lot of responsibility.
Or you've not seen the true nature of you've been blinded,
or
you've had the blinders up to the world.
You've been where you and I are trying to get to for a long time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that they've got their stuff together, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of athletes, there's a lot of cops, there's a lot of everybody that have their stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
By and large, I don't see it out in public.
Most of the world doesn't.
I don't get to see people respond in the same manner that you would hope they would, and not just expect, but as a kind, colleague on this planet, if you will. They just aren't good stewards of our earth and of our people.
No, and it's a thing of reading Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. You guys want to read these numerous versions of it out there. But again, we talked about he precedes before Christ and many other religious historical things, talking about and then the person that wrote this one, I'll need to look it up, but the author of this who translated it, there's many different, like I said, but they translate it talking about, the great way, which is, the Tao, just the world, how the universe works.
Sure. Yeah.
And stuff like that. And in Taoism, they don't believe in the Big Bang. It just existed. It was there. This is just the way that there was, all this just existed, and it just will continue to exist, and it exists in all these different forms.
It's a beautiful way to look at it.
It is, especially if you sit there and you're like, wow, that's insane. But the gentleman who took the words and interpreted kind of talked about at modern time that we don't appreciate the things like we talked about of nature, the simpler things of life. We are always on the go, trying to get this. I want. But you're forgetting the things that you need.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big aspect going to that, of, whomever these individuals out there who've quote unquote found that path or their own enlightenment, so to speak. I think that is a big thing that, enlightenment can be defined in many different ways for people, but to find that path for you to where you're just like, I'm happy.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Like I'm blessed with what I have,
Yeah.
I think many more people need to sit and find that for themselves. Quit constantly looking for outside forces to bring that to you. there is nothing, again, no music, no movie, no person, no book, no nothing that will make you happy. Again, you can be one of the smartest people in the world and have all this information retained, but if you cannot internalize it to click it, to apply it to you, it ain't gonna matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big struggle for most people of
well,
seeing things.
Earlier you said like needs and wants,
Yeah.
And getting your list in order, right? Like getting the needs versus wants and moving forward from there. All too often, I think when people decide to make a big move like what you did, their needs and wants are all sort of bucketed together.
Merge.
Oh, I need that. That's my new truck. I need that. I just bought that. Well, now you don't have the $700 to pay for it, or 6 or 5 or 4, whatever it is. It's no different than when I have people approach me. They're like, "Hey, where's that big massive SUV you used to drive? The blacked out thing." Well, I left my corporate gig because I was just disgusted with it. And so I had to make my list a little smaller. I had to make my wants and my needs real.
Yeah.
Not just what do I want to need or what do I need to want.
Mm-hmm.
You can mix that shit up. We can rationalize things all day long. Well, it was a really good deal. They had 0%.
Yeah, like
it doesn't matter.
That's too, like I've done recently is look at the wants and the need. Like, look at something like, ooh, cool. Don't need that.
You can't
It's
attach yourself to it before you've gone through the process in your mind that allows you to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you have to say, and this is something that I just read last week. I want to say it was in it's something. I even put it on our list in episode 9. It was something with no head. Basically, like realizing you have no head, and it's a spiritual thing, and it's the thing where you look back at yourself and you have no head. Man, I don't know what's wrong today, Jeff. I am on fire with my brain going crazy, and I'm just.
It's been a week for you too, in a sense.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into that.
So
my brain's a little rattled. I apologize, guys. I keep forgetting things, and I'm not stoned. I'm not drunk. Nothing. I'm perfectly clear. Jeff, you said something earlier about when you're in front of people, when you're out in public, and you have these expectations, and they don't meet them, and they make you angry, and you start putting your shit on them unknowingly. Not on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that any of us do any of this on purpose. That's the shitter. When you tell somebody that you're projecting your anger on me, they don't know they are.
Yeah, because you've been blinded. You're just seeing this lane.
Yes.
You're seeing the one lane in your life.
Right.
You're not seeing that there's 2 lanes or 3 or 4, however you want to look at your path of life.
And sometimes you fall into this like, well, you were just right in line with me.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Dude, ebbs and flows, ups and downs. You can't always be in the same lane. You can't. It just doesn't happen. So that's why we keep talking about come back to center.
Yeah, and that it just pops like because you're swimming there.
Yeah.
Alan Watts has a good quote, and I'll butcher it, but I'll paraphrase it, talking about, when you go to swim, you don't fight the water, you don't attack it. You flow, you're easily through it. That is how life should be. You can't attack life because life will attack you back, and will win.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't attack the world because you can't take on the world.
Yeah.
It's literally having to flow with your life, slowing down to, if you want to put it to analogy of swimming or whatever, like, oh, here comes the next wave. Man, is that gonna push me back, or am I gonna get through the surf? You just keep going.
Right.
And that is life's path. It is just this. No life is, ooh, man, it's all good. If it is, hey, you've got a wonderful life, blessed to you. But most people's lives are just up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
You get these moments like, damn, and then whoosh, it goes back.
Yeah.
That is part of life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it is. And it's guaranteed. It's going to be there just like your pillow is going to be there when you get home.
Yeah.
It goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. You go sleep under the stars, it's there.
Yeah, they're not going to disappear. They're even if it's the worst, cloudiest of days, we get the stupid
still there
sand haze thing coming from the Sahara.
Dude,
like,
right, whatever.
It doesn't matter. They're still there. We can't see them, but they're still there.
Right.
That's the thing too and that's what I think a lot of people, you got to realize, like, you can only mask something for so long. Put these blinders on, see that one lane of life, and if that's all you see.
Oh, you mean like if people only watch one news station?
Well, I don't watch the news for.
Of course, because you're an intelligent man.
You
can't watch the news.
I just stopped. Like, my one client, when I train her, like at her house, she'll have it on, but I really don't pay attention to it unless it's something like if it most of the time, it's just background noise. She likes having on.
Yeah.
And it's like, but now my wife and I, we just stopped watching it because over the whole madness, it's like, we don't want our daughter seeing that. She'd watch it and then she'd ask questions because she's very intelligent. It's like, you know what? Let's stop.
Yeah. We started doing this thing where I'll go and I'll watch tidbits.
Yeah.
But I'm very cautious to watch them from different sources just because I love to, not that I like to read it or watch it. I love waiting for the narrative to drop. I love waiting for them to go like, oh, and then we got some news here. This is what happened. And why did the president let that happen? Why did your government do that? Why did your governor do that? Okay, next to you, Rod. Oh, well, today in weather, it's going to be 70, except for at Trump's house, it's going to be 92 because he's the devil. Wait a minute. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of anybody in politics. I think they should all fucking burn. But you can't do that.
No.
Can't. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure what the answer is there. But going back to the energy and being out in front of people, being out in public, you don't even know when your energy is projecting positivity or negativity unless you've played with this for a while.
And that goes into the whole thing of you're an actor in your own life. You are not being you.
Yeah, you're at a D or an F.
Yes, you are playing the main character in your life. You are not actually living it. And that's, again, taking that step back to live your life versus acting in your life.
Yeah, man.
And I think a lot of people, I think most of the world is acting in their own life, that we don't take these risks. And you might fail, but you don't know if you don't try.
Yeah.
Aspects, no different than you venturing out with this.
Yeah.
This could be a shit show or it could be something really good. And guess what?
Both.
It's really good. Yeah. And at times it might be both.
Yeah.
But again, it's those things of you really have to take that step back to say, am I being an actor in my own life or am I actually living my life? And I remember when I read that too, I could remember it. I was at work and I was on my computer and I actually saw it and I was like, man, I love that. Saved it. It's somewhere. Like if I pulled it through my phone, I got that little thing saved. But don't be the actor in your own life. You need to be living your life.
Yeah. And that starts at being centered from the time you wake up.
Yes.
To trying to stay centered and then absolutely recentering before you go to bed. Right? I mean, that's
finding
a
wave to get to those things. Absolutely.
And for those, it's hard.
It is.
But it's a requirement. It has to be a requirement, just like if you say, okay, and we're going to talk about either a meditation or some form of yoga or a walk, whatever your thing is. You get up and you don't do that. Well, you didn't do your work for the day, so guess how it's going to go?
Yeah.
You're going to be a C or a D.
I haven't meditated yet today. I'm going to do it later.
Do you feel different?
A little bit, but I kind of started my day still on a good note. I read some positive things. I read my Daily Stoic stuff. Read my Tao Te Ching, a couple of verses out of that.
Yeah.
So I still did things that do this, but I've been trying to fluctuate when I do it.
Yeah.
To just
keep things different.
To experiment with myself and that, I was doing whims, breathing every day. Then I was like, well, I like doing this kind of later in the day. It brings that sense of ooh, I'm calm. So I've been messing with doing things at different times, just experimenting to see. So today's one of those days I'll do it later. Tomorrow I'll probably do it in the morning. So I like doing it just playing with it in different times. Because the other day I sat outside in the early morning and it felt great. Then I told you I've been doing it after workout when my mind's fired to try and, my mind, everything's going a mile a minute to slow it.
It's got to be hard when your CNS is obviously activated, your central nervous system is activated, and the muscles are engaging and blood is pumping and the brain is just going.
Oh, yeah, I'll do it, I'll sit, I'll walk, kind of cool down, and my heart rate will still not have even gone back to resting. I'm like, well, instead of sitting like Sam says in his app, I lay down. Because Wim gets you can sit, you lay down, and I'll do different. So some days I'll sit in the traditional style, or I just lay flat.
I think as long as
I put my hands on my belly, because then I really can focus.
Right,
you can push into the diaphragm and the breathing.
Yeah,
and that's what I do when I get done working out, because it's but my brain is a mile a minute, and it's stop.
Yeah, I think it's okay if you lay down or you're vertical, as long as your spine is aligned and not all wonky.
Yeah,
supposedly, because that energy travels up and down your spine.
Yeah. And that's why I like laying down with whims, because you can feel from the top of your head to your toes. You can feel the full circle meeting and coming through. Yeah,
that looking outside of yourself internally even. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And For me, I'm not to the point, I think I'm like day 38 or 39 of this intro program, but
the 50 days.
Yeah, I'm not to the point where I can skip meditating in the morning. I have to do it in the morning after I get up, before I do anything else, or else I'm off.
No, and things that's normal too to do. Like, I just like to experiment to see. No different than working out. Like, everyone has a quote unquote time, the best time of the day when your body is primed to work out.
Yeah.
You literally do.
Yeah,
and so I just like been trying it in different stages like that of different times. So like some days I would flip and I'll do Wims in the morning, Sam's in the afternoon, and flip.
Right.
And I've kind of so far found that I like doing Sam's in the morning, Wim I can do in the morning or like in the afternoon.
Yeah,
it's good to do. I like his breathing. It like it's really calming.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to figure out a way to put a like a trough or something in the backyard, like in the not the yard, but on the patio, and be able to cover it, right? And have a drain and just put ice in it when you're going to do it, because then you're outside and it's not quite such a well, it's a welcome, right? I mean,
and that's what I was doing in the winter. I'd sit outside and do those kind of things, or like ice bath in the house. I want to use our deep freezer, but I got to get everything out.
I know, dude. That's such a cool idea
to do. Well, a guy I know, this gentleman down in Florida, he does this. He's actually gone to Wim's thing in the Netherlands and stuff like that. Oh man, I love this dude.
Very cool.
I'll just say Oscar. So if you listen, Oscar,
what up, Oscar?
Talking to you, man. Yeah, he does this, and he'll sit in his. And the other day he had it like at 50, and I've seen him at days he's had it like at 41. He's like, oh, and he's got a thing called breathe, motherfucker. That's like his.
Yeah,
saying.
You said that. It's going to be his book, right?
And stuff like that.
Or not him. That's going to be a Wim's book.
Wim, he changed the name. I forgot what it's going to be.
Oh, my bad.
But it's
something like
gone
that.
Numerous titles.
Right.
But yeah, like Oscar does all those things too. But like, like that cold is just something. Like I love doing the cold showers and just closing my eyes. Like Wim says, it's something.
Yeah,
it's different.
It is different.
They're going to make a movie on Wim too.
Oh, I'm sure.
They already they said I don't know the actor's name, but they already got 2 people to do the parts. And
like Viggo Mortensen, he would be really good for Wim.
They got some Jeff guy and somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Viggo would be amazing at that. He just has that same rough, like been out in the wilderness his whole life look. Like he could take on anything. So all right, I'm gonna get back to something here. When we talk about getting that positive energy out there in public, it doesn't just start with meditation, because if you try to meditate and you're overweight or you're consuming bad food, lots of alcohol, chances of you dialing in your meditation to where you need it are very, very slim.
True.
And I found this out firsthand, okay? I couldn't figure out a few days in a row, I can't get back to where I need to be. Why can't I get back to that void of just comfort? Well, because my body's too busy trying to process really shitty food.
Yes, it's fighting other
Yeah, it's
things.
got other things that it's doing. So how am I going to make the temple as perfect as possible, within reason, obviously?
Yeah.
While I'm shoving what keeps me alive, but is also killing me down my throat. Like only part of it is keeping you alive.
Well, yeah.
And the other part is probably killing you.
Depending the quality of your food. The
exactly.
Intake,
So that's another place that you might want to look.
I wouldn't recommend meditating too while drinking.
Oh God,
I've attempted. I've wanted to see, to see, what happens. It's not to say that you can't, but your mind is going to be very much in an altered state.
You're gonna be fighting.
Yeah, you got a mind now that is more free because there's goofing around.
Sure.
Alcohol makes you very free in your mindset and your voice.
Yeah.
But you'll be fighting an internal battle. I've tried it before, and it's like
totally.
But that's another thing is I've tried the different things to see if I can get the mind in its different periods to shut itself down, and that's a hard thing. Like the working out, I'm still trying to get that. I've gotten better this week of doing it, like getting done and then meditating. I'm like, and I can completely just wash my mind off.
Sure,
and
man.
But I was just playing with it to see and testing. Can I get to that state?
Yeah.
Meditating the other day, and I could hear my girls, in the house talking, doing stuff. I could hear the neighbor outside, have my headphones in. But even like Sam says, you can hear these sounds, pull them in. What is it? Wash it out.
Yeah.
And then
flick it, right?
Yeah. Then eventually it's like there's nothing. All I feel is the warmth of the sun and the cool breeze as it blows, and that's it. Like I don't.
Yeah.
You're just feeling out what's on the body. You hear no sounds. It's not like I got noise canceling headphones on.
Right.
I don't turn it up loud because I like it that perfect volume. But yeah, you hear those other things, and eventually just like, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And you're just there.
Right. So would you say that having the skill set that you have, even at our sort of novice level, if you will, myself definitely more so than you, I know you've been doing this a little bit longer, would you say that if it wasn't for that work that you put in over the years, that last decision that you made would have been much, much harder, and maybe you wouldn't have made that decision?
I think it would have been 10 times harder. Like, it's with anything in life, eventually you have to come to peace with things.
Yeah.
And I had come to my peace a while ago and did what I was supposed to do, you know, but I think it's with anything in life, you just have to come to terms with those things. Like,
yeah,
you know, oh God, I'm getting older. Yeah, so everyone is. You have to come to terms with those things. But, you know, with what happened and transpired, like, yeah, like, was not upset, not emotional. It was just like, yeah, because I had already built myself up that no matter what is said or told to me, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But that is the whole process of trying to make your mindset an impenetrable fortress.
Right.
And I can't always say that mine is, like we said earlier. You got those moments where you're like, you go off on tangents, or your mindset's a little lower that day and you might fly off the handle or something, as we all do. But yeah, I will say definitely that having the mindset that I do, no matter any decision or what would have happened this, you know, past week, I would have been content with it no matter what.
That's dope.
And I think that's a hard thing to do, again, for most people. Is just like, you know what?
Well, I've talked to people that have lost their jobs or they've been furloughed or whatever in the government, and it's world ending for these people.
Yeah.
They don't have that solid foundation to be able to notice that it's just another thing.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not talking loss of life, but like jobs. You lose a job, you quit a job, you know, something breaks, you can get another job. You have skills. It's not like you were just limited to what you were doing. You have a skill set.
Yeah, dude.
Something breaks, cool. Depending on how expensive it is, you can get something new. You know?
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, man, like my little battery-powered trimmer the other day, like, broke. Like, literally, I dropped it just right, and it cracked in half. And I was like, eh. And just literally just picked it up, threw it away, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. What else can you do?
But it's like, could I probably attempted to glue it? Yeah, but I'm like, you know what? Whatever.
But if you got angry, it would not magically unbreak.
No, and it's just like,
that's the point.
I literally set it, and it was like it was like whatever. It was like kind of cracked before from like falling off my truck bed working on it, but I was like, and just like, oh, okay, cool, throw it away.
I broke a wood. It's so funny is that I broke a wooden comb. When was it? Yesterday morning. My favorite comb. I've had it for probably 5 years. I was attached to it. I will say that, like, if I left the house without it, I would probably run back in to grab it.
We get some wood glue.
Stupid, right? That's exactly what I did today. I was like, where's my wood glue? A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have fucking been angry and thrown it away and then went and bought another one.
Yeah.
Well, that was fucked up on a few fronts. Like, did you need to spend that? No. And I know it's only X amount of dollars, but shit, man, you didn't need that, right? So anyway, similarities sometimes are striking.
It's those things. But yeah, I will say that you can take a step back and look at life a lot better if you can step back, see it as a whole. But if you can get your mind to be in a good place, like I said, being in that A-B grading zone of your life, if you can be in that, and these little bumps or waves come, you will just go, and you'll keep on moving.
Yeah, dude.
And I think that's a big thing. A lot of people, like you said, it's like, oh, and it's like, no.
Yeah. Well, that's why guys like Jocko and Tim Ferriss, Tim Kennedy, all those guys are able to be in very, very hostile environments, even if it's just in communicating with people and fucking dialed in.
Dude.
Like that's their zone.
Though, that's why I don't know if I would come into play in war zone kind of thing, because that's not...
You don't know until you've been there.
Yeah, I don't know, but I've never been in it, and I don't want to be in it. You know, that's not something that's on my list.
Probably a good thought. Well, let me just tell you, you're in the right direction.
A little too old at this point to go sign up for that stuff.
Dude, I damn near joined back up at 40. There were positions open in my career field. It was a viable option. They'd given up the restrictions on the tattoos. Mm-hmm. My hands were fine, everything. And it was just a point of, I realized that wanting to go back was a total ego trip.
Not the right reason.
Not the right reason. I couldn't have led my troops at all. Like, I would have needed to be fucking handheld after a while, and then probably told, hey, you got to get out, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the right time. You already been there, done that. Cool. All right. I mean, just like disco. That was the 70s, right? Like, we're going to keep it there, right? Like, I hope. But
yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so let me get to something else here. So last week, last week, we are recording this. This is on the 26th of June, just so you know, okay? The reason I tell you that is because of the things that are going on in the world. I want them to be relevant to you when you hear it, okay? So yesterday, obviously, was June 25th. It was the 24-year anniversary of an event that, unbeknownst to me at the time, would shift my outlook and my relationships, my sleep patterns, my addiction and abuse of drugs and alcohol. It would do all those things. And nobody at my job ever told me that was going to happen. I was a young airman. It was my first deployment. I was 19 years old. It was the summer of 1996. And I landed in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, and I was going to be staying in the Khobar Towers housing complex. Well, on my way to Saudi Arabia via Philadelphia, before we caught our military connector flight over there, excuse me, I ran into an old friend of mine that I'd been to many, many trainings and schools with, right? And also basic training. Mm-hmm. Or tech school, I'm sorry. And we were really good friends before we ever even deployed. Now, he was going to be staying in Saudi, and I was going to take a quick flight on a C-130 over to Kuwait. So I'm there for days and days and days, and he still hasn't reported into duty at the power plant where he was working. I still haven't gotten my flight to go to Kuwait yet. So we're playing basketball. We're playing volleyball at night because it's hot as hell. Yeah. Summer in the Middle East is a little warm. And you got water right there, so the humidity is just unbearable. So there's also an aroma in the air over there. It's a very unique aroma of like curry and dirt, because the sand, I would say, is not exactly sand. It's more dirt in most places. But there is a vibe in this place, and it was not a pleasant vibe. It was just very unhealthy. Like, God, man, our perimeters are weak. Like, we reported so many instances of these cars pulling in, taking photos, writing things down of our housing complex. Mm-hmm. Not just a base, because our base was across town, right? Okay. We had to take buses to get over there. I didn't work there, but so here I am in June, and I got to be over in Kuwait. So finally, I get a C-130, and I've experienced everything I wanted to experience there. I just did not like the place. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking to myself, I really hope the next place where I actually land is a lot nicer. And it was very intimate. It was only a few hundred of us there until we built it up to like 3,000 by the end of my deployment. But I digress. So Chris and I had finished up playing some basketball one day, and I had a disposable camera because back then that's
what you had.
What you took was a disposable paper camera. And so I remember this clearly. I took a picture of Chris, and you never know if those things turn out, you know. Mm-hmm. But I took a picture, and I never got to develop it until much later. And then I would find out later what I'll tell you here in a few minutes. So some of you know the story. Some of you don't. So I'll try to keep this in the middle. Long story short, a fuel tanker truck full of fuel and explosives tried to enter the entry control point at Khobar Towers housing complex. Mm-hmm. Young airman at the gate, very, very sound mind and body, told him, hey, listen, man, you can't bring that truck in here. And he actually made him back it out through Jersey barriers. And the way we set up Jersey barriers is every other one, right? So it makes it very difficult. You have to sort of chicane, or you have to snake through them. You can't do that with a fuel tanker, and it's very difficult. So he didn't think anything of it, though. Just a truck, Saudi, a local national, and he's trying to bring a truck on base. Okay. Well, a few minutes later, that truck backs into the gate, sitting right outside of my balcony of our building. And, well, the rest is history. We lost 19 airmen, including my buddy Chris. Last name, Lester, Airman First Class, Christopher Brian Lester. Went by Brian. I'll never know why. that picture didn't turn out. The picture was black as shit when it developed. And I would liken that darkness to my heart for about 20 plus years. And I let it control me. I let that event control the space in my head. I let that event make me so crazy, I finally ended up having to be on antidepressants and antipsychotics. Nobody ever told me you need to slow down. Nobody ever told me meditation might help. Nobody ever fucking told me how to deal with this shit. And here I am, 43, 44 years old, and I'm just now learning what my body and my mind are truly capable of. And I'm just now capable of understanding why Chris didn't make it and I did. And I'll tell you why. Because that's how it was supposed to be. I don't like it, but I don't hate it, because now I can realize that it wasn't anything that we could have done to change. We did our part. We reported it. But once again, our fucking leadership failed us. Once again, our law enforcement failed us. And I'm sorry. I know I've got brothers and sisters that were there that were on rooftops, that were reporting things. But where did all that information go, you know? And so now I have to step back and I have to look at this with a very, very critical magnifying glass. But just enough to remind myself that there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing that can bring Chris back. There's nothing that I can do to bring any of those other 18 airmen back, or those other hundreds upon hundreds of people that were severely injured, and thousands of military members and their families who are broken still, just like me.
Yeah.
And then we have things like our current government. We have things like our current state of affairs in law enforcement, murder hornets, a dust cloud. What next will you let your fucking attention hang on to? What next will you just flick out of your way? Because when you can start just flicking their bullshit out of the way and you start seeing those people for what they really are, mm-hmm. And I'm talking about the pervasive problem. I'm not talking about every single LE or every nothing, but you know who you are. And you may not be broken, but your system is broken right now. So you take guys like me that have so much passion and patriotism for our country and our flag and everything that we feel it stands for. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be ashamed of that. It's hard to be ashamed of the system that you are a part of that was used to oppress other nations, just like we're oppressed here by our law enforcement. It's hard to remember the things that you're a part of, whether on location or in the rear, so to speak. The only thing that I'm proud of anymore is that my brothers and sisters in arms made it out alive.
Oh, yeah, it's something you should be.
The ones that did. The ones that didn't, it's a shame.
You guys
it's
were,
a shame.
Quote unquote, doing
our job.
Doing your job.
Doing our job.
That's not to say that anyone who serves, anyone in law enforcement, first responders, is going to make the right decision at the end of the day.
Totally. Yeah.
Because people are human.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
if somebody would take a police officer, and because police officers see that shit
all day,
every day.
Yeah.
I know that. That is exactly why they shouldn't be the same people that show up to help a disabled veteran who's having a real bad day. That needs to be a counselor, a therapist, something like that. I mean, hey, it's okay. Now, if there's a firearm involved, now we're talking about a potential crime.
Yeah.
Not a mental health situation.
But then it's the world hasn't quite caught there. Like, as you...
No, they haven't.
Said, like, when, going back into 96, even if they did...
95, actually. Or no, it was 96. Wait. Yeah, 96. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'll say, even if they did teach you in 94, 95, well, he would have not been of age then. 95, 96. Sure. Even if they did teach you things you know now, it probably still wouldn't have made a difference.
It wouldn't have, but when I needed it was after.
Yeah.
I was 19. I'm not going to listen to somebody tell me I need to go meditate. I'm 19.
Yeah. And again, this stuff's been around. What we're talking about has been around for thousands of years. It's just now it's made its way to the west of, where we are. It's been there. It's just becoming a little bit more popular size and things. Well, but,
here, I guess there's something else I want to add to that. It's because it is becoming popularized, but it's also becoming criticized. It's almost like, how can I put this? Your racist grandpa? That you're like, it's grandpa. You got to just let him go. You're not going to change him. What if I told you that you were part of the problem because you didn't ever try to help him change? Mm-hmm. I truly believe that. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a part of the problem throughout our government, politicians, and LE, right? And military leadership. It's the same people. It's the same people that...
Old school way of thinking.
It is. It's a very, very old school way of thinking, and we've been doing the same shit since 1776, basically. So I think it's time to change a little. And I think that guys like myself, guys like Jeff, other men and women out there that can actually sit down and think about something for a minute critically without having to pull their phone out of their pocket, without having to get up and go do something else that just caught their attention. These are the people that run our world, and they're not even of sound mind and body.
And that's a hard thing, to get that many people on board to be that way.
There doesn't need to be that many people.
Well,
we have way too many people in government.
Well, you would hope that those people in positions.
They're self-licking ice cream cones, Jeff. They're only there.
Interesting way of putting it.
They're only there because they like themselves and what they do. And if they lose that big fat paycheck, oh my God, they have to get a real job. Can you imagine? Oh, those poor people. I really do feel bad for people like Nancy Pelosi. I really feel bad for people like Pritzker. I really feel bad for my local mayor, Adamite. But I don't. I just feel bad that they're all so fucking stupid they can't get out of their own goddamn way. And they will look down on me for saying it.
It's the world, though.
It is.
People don't see past their egos, opinions, and...
So being a small business owner...
Don't enlighten themselves to see what's around. And that's a hard thing for anyone to do.
It is. But when you're in a certain position that carries a certain magnitude, mm-hmm. Why aren't we holding these people to higher standards? I'm telling you, if you're a police officer, you damn well better have been in the military and dealt with some hard shit. Police officers have less schooling than my wife did for dental hygiene. They have less schooling than a fucking barber.
Well, depending which department.
No. Basic.
Oh, you're talking like
entry-level academy. You got a cop. Guess what? You go through 8, 10, 12 weeks of training?
I don't even remember what it is
anymore.
It
ain't much. And then what? You just know how to be a counselor, a therapist, a veteran specialist, a fucking...
shadowed and things and stuff like that. And again, that goes with the department, but that also goes with... There ain't probably a lot of departments now anymore that have enough people to cover what they need because there's not...
Well, they probably...
You don't have as many people lining up to...
You know what I haven't seen lately? Anymore. 5 fucking cops on the highway checking speed. That's what I haven't seen lately, and I'm fucking glad about it. Because you know what? I do the speed limit. I don't need you wasting my goddamn tax money sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what they do? They sit there on their fucking computers jerking off in the middle of the fucking highway. Yeah.
They catch some big people because that highway is a big drunk. I'm not going to throw it under the bus.
No, of course. I know who you're talking about. A buddy of mine made that bus over in Pontoon Beach.
Yeah. So
he's a good guy, but he's in a bad system. I think.
We unfortunately have some highways that cross many states that drug running, but
yeah,
it's
55 and 70. They're the two that go up and across.
Up and down across. Yeah, it is. But it's anywhere in the world, no matter what.
I guess there's
always going to be never enough, never good enough. Yeah, it is, man. But it all goes back to taking that step back. That hopefully, but in a split second, I can never say that like in things that you've been a part of when you were deployed, like split second decision. If I didn't do what I did, would you be sitting in front of me now,
dude? Imagine this, if you will. We, the U.S. military, not the law enforcement, not the government. We are the world's largest and most highly trained fighting force.
Yes, the U.S. has got the biggest.
But we sit by waiting to go to other countries to help, while local law enforcement oppress and enforce negative fucking stereotypes before they ever even leave the house. I couldn't have a stereotype in the military. I couldn't fucking shoot my gun at somebody just because I fucking wanted to. All I know is that I don't keep pepper bullets on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I don't keep fucking pepper bullets on hand. So, small business. This is something last week just had me reeling. I was going through reading countless stories of small business owners that were getting denied for these bullshit loans from the government, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember on day one, I said, I'm not going to do it. It's fucking filthy, dirty ass money. I don't want it. I would honestly rather shut my doors for however long I needed to, even if it was forever.
Yeah.
Anyway. So how is it now that, let's say, you and I were normal citizens? Let's say we're both small business owners. Mm-hmm. And we're told, you can't open up. Sorry, you're going to be closed. Okay, at first, everybody's like, whew, for the betterment of the land and the people, we're going to do this.
Hopefully protection of what's been going on with the virus and everything.
Of course, yeah, of course. Understood. Hua, I'm there. Then all of a sudden, if it's in your way as a leader or law enforcement, if it's not in your swim lane, so to speak, if you don't agree with it, well, then you're gonna change it. Well, you know what? Yeah, actually, these massive corporations can stay open. Well, wait a minute. So you're telling me that government and law enforcement protect the wealthy and the large corporations, but Jeff, you and I are oppressed by the law enforcement? I'm sorry, brother, but the fucking jig is up. And it's fucking time for the pigs to fucking take off. And I don't mean pigs and cops. I mean the fucking filthy swine that are in fucking offices and wearing badges or whatever they are.
There's been a lot of crazy things with the lockdown of businesses who could and couldn't open and whatnot. You know, you could go back to the day when like, oh, restaurants can do this, they can do the to-go. Well, okay, well, yet people don't need haircuts and things like that, like those types of things. And you can get into those arguments that you could say, well, you know, is that essential if you're not going to the office?
Right, yeah.
You know, but people need food. Well, I go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, you could go around in many ways, you know, and in our state, thankfully, everything is supposed to be opening back up today, I believe, the final.
Right, but the rest of the world is trying to shut back down.
Yeah, and the rest of the world's going back. And
so who's right? We don't know. Our government doesn't know.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
It's a mess with this stupid virus that either decision you make, you're damned.
So then come out as a government and say, guys, we don't know. This is a first for us.
They would never do that.
No, they won't. But this is a first. Listen to this. What if they fucking said this? What would you do? Your fucking head would explode. You're watching the news. President Obama, Trump, Reagan, fucking Carter comes on, any of them, and admits complete and utter, just don't know. If I told you I knew, I'd be a liar.
Has that even happened, though, in the course of history?
Okay, so then where's the problem here, Jeff?
You're repeating history, which is what, quote unquote, we're not supposed to do.
Right. So all these really smart people, right? Well, no, they're not really smart people.
Well, you're hoping the people that are giving them the advice, like the CDC, those doctors, are the ones who they're basing their decisions on based upon their research. But again, yes, society would fall, I would assume. No different than if, you know, government truly is like, oh, yeah, aliens exist. If they told the average human psyche, like I've talked about through this whole madness, was not designed to go into isolation mode.
Yeah.
Strong will have enjoyed the isolation. The weak, when I say strong and weak, I don't mean that to be derogatory, just mindset.
Right.
Most, as humans, we are not meant to be isolated. It's already been proven in studies and things like that, that after so long, even animals in isolation.
Right.
Psyche breaks down, things like that. But no, the human psyche was not designed for this COVID virus mess to be locked in, not do these things. But if now you're people who are supposed to be representing and taking action to protect you, if they said that, the world would flip. No different if, like, tomorrow, aliens do exist. Yeah, they've been among. The world would flip.
So isn't it weird how we keep getting these little tidbits of all this fucking, oh, wow, now it's aliens? Wow, that's great.
But a thing, if we go back to the beginning of our conversation of if more of the world got aligned onto that mindset that coming more to peace, taking a step back, if the government said, hey, we are trying to grasp this, we have no idea. We are playing it day by day, addressing it, no different than probably
that would have been amazing
in the military.
Yes.
You gotta.
Yeah, it's fluid. That's what we always do. It's fucking fluid.
That would take a whole aspect of an entire societal change of people having that mindset, because as soon as any government official would say, we're very uncertain with what's going on, the world is going to attack them.
Yeah.
Even if there was one brave enough, probably.
I don't think that they would. I think if they said, hey, listen, we're unsure of where this came from, we're unsure of all these things.
Well.
See, I think that you're imagining or thinking of this in the same light that we've always imagined it.
And
I think other countries and nations are waiting for us
to see what we
to wake the fuck up. Well, I really listen to these other fucking countries, man. They're losing their fucking minds over us. They look to us.
Well, the U.S. is quote unquote been the world power leader in a sense for years, or the country to go to. But
well, we've talked about Rome before, and I hate to say that, but
Rome's burned and fallen. It was rebuilt
by different people, and I mean,
part of Rome Rome still exists, but not the original one we're talking about.
Of course, now it's a tourist destination. But I just, I say all these things because these things affect me on a daily basis. Having 2 children, a wife, and a small business, and friends and family that I love and adore. If I have a hard time recentering myself when it comes to protection being completely withdrawn from our protectors, and instead they keep their thumbs, and they're like, it's like they've lost their ability to critically think about a situation at all. It's almost, I don't know what it is, because I know that law enforcement gets trained to maintain a very stoic sort of like appearance, a very neutral. Yeah. I'm not yelling. I'm not taking this side or that side.
Well, that's the side.
That's how we're supposed to do it, right? I mean, that's how you do it in Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever we've went and occupied. That's what we've done. We've made friends with people, right? You go in the community, you learn who they are, you bring them water if they need it. You do all those things.
Quote unquote assets.
You do.
A bad way of
in the military. That you're right, because it's a militarized function. But if you put that,
it should be. That's your community. These are your people.
If you shift that mindset into local communities all over the country, all of a sudden you have not police officers, you have peace officers. There's a big difference. Well, you don't need to be policed as a people. We're not North Korea. We're not Russia. We're not China.
Society as a whole operates to the confines.
Well, we still have still have law enforcement. Yeah, you still have people that know how to show up when somebody's being stupid. You can go into
the different styles of policing and things that I learned in school. Like Japan has very low crime and stuff because they got different ways. That thing's been argued since the dawn of time. There's how many books written by professors, people in law enforcement.
Yeah,
who's to say? But at the end of the day, if you want to, the reason they will always be employed is because there's some asshole out there who doesn't believe that they have to follow the line that society created.
Oh, true. But that's when that's needed.
Yeah.
Not when a young child has a breathing disorder.
Yeah.
And is trying to explain to the policeman, please, I'm not doing anything. I'm sorry. I have this condition. And they fucking shoot him. Dude, that system, if that was the only crime, then that whole system would still need a washing.
Well,
and it's not the only crime.
No, there's many, and it's a volatile world of, again, fluidity needs to come, but
yeah,
and it's a thing that it's going to take time. Mm-hmm. How much time?
We don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have time. My daughter's 14.
That's the thing.
My son's 12.
We don't have time as much as we'd love to snap our fingers and say, it's the reality is time.
I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have any more time to sit by and watch this. So, one last thing on that, and then I'll move on because I got to finish this on a positive note. I just owe it to that to you guys and to Jeff. Jeff's here. He's trying to be the voice of reason for me, and I'm the fucking maniac. So somewhere in the middle, I think, is a good point. and we'll get there. So right now I'm hearing a lot of chatter out there in the nets and webs and my local buddies about how the defunding the police and whether you're for it or against it, or what that means, what it doesn't mean. Is it really defunding, or do they need more money so they can get trained better? Or maybe you divert money from fancy Humvees and tanks to training. I don't know. Maybe you can learn how to be a therapist. That might work. So all of these things, like if you're a police officer and you wear a badge and you've taken an oath to serve and protect people, and then your people turn on you because of your behavior or your system's behavior, you can't take that personally. There's something flawed in the system, okay? So you put down your gun and you say, you know what? You guys don't want us here? Fine, we're going home. Okay. Well, let's put that into a different light. They're probably feeling a little vulnerable, right? A little broken, a little like unwanted.
A lot of different races and
totally all of them. And I can't even imagine the African American or any police officer that's not a white guy right now. There's got to be such a crazy just conundrum. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, probably a good way of putting it.
So having said that and respecting all of that, how does it feel, law enforcement? How does it feel to be unwanted, neglected, discarded, shot, hurt, called names? How does it fucking feel? It's not nice, is it? So now you tell me that you're right. Tell me that those things make you feel good, because they don't. They make you do your job worse, and I know that. You can't be under that kind of duress all the time and perform your job like you need to. I'm not saying you are the problem. I'm saying your system is the problem. But it goes even higher than you, because I know that the system allows for you to protect those with money and positions over the people that don't. So, all you police officers might want to start looking into peace officer positions, or at least doing something to make a change. And I suggest you start with yourself and your community. If you want people to know that you're a good police officer, on or off duty, you better get out in the community and start doing some shit. You better go meet people that you serve or you're supposed to serve. Because some random dude shows up, guns a-blazing. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know you. And you ain't even here for a real reason.
Yeah.
You know? And I mean, I'm talking, hyperbole here. It's whatever.
Oh, but it's like one good thing in the news, like kids got called, I don't remember where it was, for playing football in the street. Officers come, guess what? Play football with kids in the street.
That is amazing.
Seeing things like that, that interacting, in the community and stuff like that. Thankfully, my community, same thing. When they wanted to do a peaceful protest, cops came out and walked with them, brought people the snacks and the water and stuff like that. It's those things that you need to be a part of your community, no matter who you are. You can't just be the soul locked away behind the door. Right.
And you just show up randomly and enforce some shit?
So like, it's going with the saying, like, if you do nothing, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to, well, then you're part of that problem.
Yes, you are.
It's everyone in society doing better with themselves, doing better for their neighbor. Think like the pay it forward thing from, people going to Starbucks whenever it started.
Oh, yeah.
If that continued in real life of I'm going to do that for my neighbor, this, and it kind of spread through your block. And think if every household did that and it just kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
Eventually it would make its way back around.
Right. Yeah.
That's a small change.
Of course it
Little
is.
things like that can go a long way in the time frame of just the small change. And that's one way of doing it.
Sure. Yeah. And we
Getting out and talking with your neighbors, having those conversations about things,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I still am baffled at how we got to where we are. But I will say that if you go onto my Facebook page, you'll find there's a really interesting video on there of a Russian defector from I think it was back in the 70s or early 80s, I think. I'll have to look at it, but forgive me. So anyway, he was laying out the entire way that we have been just fucked with. And it's been a very slow process. Mm-hmm. And this guy is sitting there warning us. He's like, guys, this is going on. There's a reason I'm here. You know, you need to listen to me. And there were other defectors that said the same shit.
Well, no time for me, a Cold War.
Yeah. So here comes this guy. You should read or watch the interview or whatever. It's bone chilling to listen to, because you start realizing, you're like, wait a minute. So like, okay, so we had COVID, and if you remember, everybody was like banding together.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody. It was like politics didn't matter. There was no violence over here. Nothing. Everybody banded together. So then what? Whoa, we got to interject something into the system, because these guys can't all be happy together.
Society found a way to get along.
Yes.
Because we had to.
And the news and the fucking government found a way to split us back apart. So guess what? Our youth, these smart little bastards, I fucking love them, dude. Everybody from 10 to fucking 25 right now, God love them. They tell them, we're not going to forget this. And you're not going to forget this. And they're still out there.
Yeah.
And to say that I feel ashamed because I'm not out there with them, that's not even fucking icing on a cake. Like, I feel this big because I'm not out there with them. It's a horrible feeling. But when you sign an oath to protect your flag and your country and the people that live in it,
yeah,
that oath never fucking goes away.
No,
never.
Something that's
and that's why I say shit, crazy shit like I don't have fucking pepper bullets.
Ingrained into you.
I'm sorry. But it's not the police officer that I am afraid of or I care about, because he's made himself inhuman to me, because he's part of an inhuman system. So, not to be negative, but to be positive about this is, hey, we're all seeing it now.
Yeah.
We all see that there are problems. Guess what? Jeff and I have been sitting here talking about problems, telling you a few things, how to work them out, how to deal with things yourself. That doesn't mean that problem went away, though. You can't forget about it just because you feel better.
No, you
right?
Still have to see, yeah. Just even though you might step back from something, remove something, doesn't mean that there is still not another problem to be solved on the horizon, or being in a problem that you still need to continue to solve.
Right.
That is part of life. It is an endless puzzle that will never be solved.
Yeah, totally. But we can absolutely try some new puzzles.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think
put some new pieces in that fit better.
I think that if we could somehow drum up a few people that are more central in their thoughts, more center in their thoughts, not so extreme one way or the other, that would be a start.
Yeah.
That would be a very, very simple start. But, excuse me, here we are. Just a few, what is it? Oh, God. We're going to be voting.
Oh, yeah.
Very soon, dude. And as of now, our choices are status quo or somebody else that seemingly has some issues of his own. Right? I mean, I don't know.
Or someone new will come in who will want to be that new puzzle piece.
Well, that's what I would love to have. I would love to have that and try to change something so we don't have a civil war.
God bless you if you want to be that person.
No way.
Government's not for me.
No way.
No,
that's why. That's the problem. Every good-hearted American says, I'm not doing that because it's a shitty fucking system. Why would I want to be that person?
To be on that, it takes a lot just to want to step up anyway.
So who wants to do it?
Good or bad in that position.
Who wants to do it? It's people that don't mind. It's people that don't give a shit. I don't know. It's all coming pretty clear to me, you know? And I know there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuances and there's a lot of narratives. But it's fucking fruit salad and it's all in there.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, fucking all of it. We better start being able to see the good from the bad. And if you think that you're getting solid information by tuning into your fucking TV at night, well, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're no better than...
You could flip through multiple stations and you'll see...
any of them.
It's just tweaked in how it's said.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that news is this big and the narrative is this big. And I hate to use that word because it's overused. I know it's cliche, but that's all I can think of. But I think that we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity to challenge ourselves to become a better people in ourselves and in our circles, right? And I think that we have a chance to let the people know that we elected. Well, we didn't elect them. The Electoral College elected them. Like 17 states elected them, right?
Yeah.
We didn't. It doesn't fucking matter if you and I show up to the polls. It honestly does not. It's never mattered if we have a populist president, governor, whoever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it goes in your...
It doesn't matter. They still placate to their base and to their interest groups and their corporations. And if you don't know that and you don't care, then you are un-American. If you are unwilling to question the establishment and your leadership out of shame, guilt, fear of reprisal, well, you're weak. And we don't need weak people right now.
Yeah, change won't happen if there's no voice. Or like you just said a moment ago, of coming together on your collective group.
Right.
And then hopefully you and that collective group expand to others that's not in this group. And then it goes to a new circle and a new circle. And those circles just keep, again, the quote unquote, a good ripple effect.
Well, okay. So having said that, where do you go to find out how you can help? Where do you go to find out if someone could use a hand? Where do you go? Where do you dial into? What website? What Facebook group? Who do you go to find out, hey, I want to help because I think our government needs to change. I don't want a coup or a revolution or a civil war. I'm afraid of all those things because that means I have to take up arms again.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
No.
Because that means I'll probably end up getting hurt or killed. I don't want to do that. I damn sure don't want to hurt or kill someone else. But if people are in my neighborhood and there's chaos and there's no stable government, well, that's not good for anybody.
No.
Right? So that's why we need to figure out a way. We need to have a place, a base, a station, something, somewhere that we can go to that says, hey, I'm in this zip code. What can I help do to further and better my local people? Right?
I think that's as simple as just when you see your neighbor, hey, need help with anything? Is small conversations like that with the people that you see.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then others like, yeah, you know, like, man, yeah, dude, my neighbor, he's been helping me out. Like that, hopefully that, again, that pay it forward thing kind of continues on.
And that will be good. That's long term, right? Like we have to do that. That's
but like
building.
You're saying to think of, but I think in the starting, in the interim of to build to that aspect of having something in your local area, it starts with just offering us, hey, you need help? Let me help you. You see your neighbor, hey, you want me to help you with that? Just those small things that it starts creating those little good ripples. That it grows into something bigger.
Okay, but think of this, though. In its like most minute form, you have a government that's been in power, the same kind of government forever, since day one. Mm-hmm. Has not changed. Hasn't adapted, hasn't done any of those things. And it continues to do the same thing over and over and over. Do you remember earlier, Jeff, when we were talking and you said, whether it's family, a job, if you keep doing it and you don't like it, it's not working, you got to fucking shift?
Yeah. And
here we are.
Yeah. It needs to be a step back taken from many things of life.
Yeah. How do we challenge that establishment without somebody putting a gun on us?
That's going to have to be someone new who's going to enter that world to be that. Someone who wants to, because even if you got an entire state to say, hey, we want this, it still wouldn't matter. The higher powers that be will do.
Yeah.
You know, different than if you want it sun, you know, it's hot as can be here today, but I want it to rain. Come on. Doesn't matter what you do. And it's not going to happen.
Nope.
But I think it starts with the conversations with your neighbor, the people you're involved with, being good, offering those services to those, and hopefully those things continue to spread. And that, remember, no matter how bad this world seems to be, there are always good people. They're still good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, a thing we said before, you know, be grateful, thankful, blessed. Think of many things. The world can be a shit show at times, no matter what you turn on, what you see, what's going on. But at the end of the day, each of us has something to remember to be blessed about.
Right.
And hopefully that you're doing something with the people in your life, that you're making them better people, and that spreads to the people they come in contact with. That's what we need to first and foremost, be better to each other.
Yeah.
Before we're ever going to go and change the powers that be. We can't be better.
That statement can be held for the whole country, though. We have to be better to each other.
It should be. We should be better to each other.
Yeah.
Because if we do that, it should hopefully flow upward. That maybe the enlightenment will hit those that are in the power. That,
dude, every time it gets close, they fucking lose their minds.
You know, we were there through the madness of this virus, and like you said, unfortunately, a little thing hit. And
listen, when one side of anything attacks the other side for doing something, and a month later, they do the same thing and are attacked by the other side, wear a mask, don't wear a mask? There's a lot of confusion, and I think that confusion is by design. I think so, man. I hate to say it. I really do. I hate to sound like a lunatic, but
it's still saying in many states, still wear it.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's all crazy, and you're right, dude. There's a lot of good people out there, and like today, you sit here, I get upset about something. A month ago, I'd still be upset, but today I can say, well, you know what? Yeah, okay. I don't like it, and I can get animated on here, and I get it out, and I go back to being okay again.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. So, if you like things we say, tell us. If you don't, tell us. Be respectful and polite, because we're supposed to be good to each other. You don't have to like cherry ice cream, but if your wife does, you fucking better put it in the freezer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Man, it's been a hell of a week.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot. And we've gone longer than we ever have. But I think that, Jeff, you provided so much good information. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm
glad you shared your story too as well.
Well, thank you. It's hard. I've done it before. It doesn't get easier, but I will say that this year, a good friend let me have the keys to his lake house, and I was able to escape all of my norm, which still reminds me and doesn't allow me to view and see new things. Because as soon as you see those things and do those things, your mind is like, oh, shit, I can't focus on that. Yeah. I got to do these things. So I made the trek to a local lake and stayed at his place and was up for most of the night outside watching stars, doing some writing, writing some more music.
Good.
And it was for my buddies, not because of them.
Yeah.
And I was able to bounce back on my way home and say, wow, man, I've never done that before. I've never known that something was going to be taking place inside my own head and circumnavigated it with the right intention and the right methods and everything.
Yeah.
Never been able to do that. So just as Jeff was talking about how his crazy scenarios that affected his week were shifted by his abilities to shift his mind and do what he needs to do, that's exactly what happened to me. And no matter how angry or the tirade or how soft-spoken or how anything, just know this one thing. And Jeff said it. Be good to each other. Right? Be good to each other.
Simple concept, yet very difficult.
It doesn't matter about my stories. It doesn't matter Jeff's stories, nothing. Just go be good to people and have good intent. Don't do it because you want their vote. Don't do it because you're placating, You don't, don't find a scapegoat that would allow you to keep feeling the same way. You can't do that. You can't shift that stuff to somebody else and project on them. That's what it's called. That's where it comes from. Guys, there's so much work that we have to do. There's so much work we have to do. Yeah. And, Jeff and I get on here and we talk about it and we try to give you guys some pointers on it. We try to, give you some refreshing outlooks on things. We can't say any more than that, I guess. And, we love you guys and we hope that you continue to try to grow. Maybe tell somebody, maybe they can join us. Tell a friend. Come listen. Maybe we have something that helps your neighbor be a better person to you.
Have that conversation. Even if you guys don't have the same opinion, it doesn't matter. So long as the diversing opinions aren't creating evil and harm, the world needs to have opposing opinions. That is the yin and yang of life.
Yeah.
But have those conversations with people.
Yeah.
Maybe you will see a little different of their side. They'll see a little different of you. Henceforth, why there is still that little circle of black and white in the yin and the yang, because no matter how bad or good, there's still a little of each in both.
Yeah, that's so true, man.
See the other person's side and maybe hear their story and hear it from a different perspective to enlighten yourself on why they have that opinion on that.
Yeah. Don't get trapped, guys. Don't get trapped listening to your mind.
No, be good. Have a good weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to us, as always, everyone.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't be happier to be here. I feel privileged and honored every time. Every single time I feel privileged and honored. No matter what I say during, I always feel privileged and honored. I really do.
It is.
It's a wild time we're living now, but it's full of information, weed through it, find your information, make yourself smart, get centered, right? Get yourself in an ice bath if you can. Check out Wim, check out Sam, read a book. Guys, take your kids for a walk. Do whatever you can.
Do something that makes you happy.
That's right, man. And all of a sudden, everybody else gets happy when you're happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Spread some good energy, people. We love you. You be good. We're going to take you out again with some killer DiBiase, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace. See you guys.